Hi everyone, and welcome back to Stamp with Anna. Today I'm going to show you the third card that we made at the Eclipse card class that I had last weekend. This is such a nice card. It does have a lot of steps to it, and it does use a lot of inks, but I think the end result is really, really nice. So let me first show you what we're using, and then I'll show you how we did it. I used a piece of Daffodil Delight for the base, and I cut that at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then my mat was a piece of Bermuda Bay, and that's cut at 5 1/4 by 4. And then my card front here is a piece of Very Vanilla, and that's cut at 5 by 3 3/4. For inks, and there are a lot, I used Bermuda Bay, Pumpkin Pie, Flirty Flamingo, Daffodil Delight, Crumb Cake, Tangerine Tango, and Old Olive. And for I also needed a piece of scrap Daffodil Delight and Whisper White. I'm going to change this just a tiny bit, and I'm also going to change my candle. I had a different design revelation after the class. And the way we made these big letters is by using the large letter dies. This die set it's a little expensive, but it's so worth it. It's $99, and you have 37 pieces. Obviously, you have the whole alphabet. And the letters are large, so they're great for cards, and they're also great if you're a scrapbooker because they're great for titles, making titles. So you get the 26 letters in the alphabet. Then you also get some punctuation. You get an exclamation point, a question mark, a colon, an equal sign, a plus sign, an apostrophe, looks like an asterisk. And this, I'm assuming we can probably make it be like an accent. I forget what they call it. You know, the little accent. And this is maybe a less than or greater than mathematical sign. And I'm assuming that because of the other mathematical sign pieces that are in there. So like I said, there are, and you also have an ampersand, a nice large ampersand. There are 37 pieces in this set, and it is worth every penny. I find myself using it a lot. One more thing we're going to use that I probably should have mentioned first is the Sweet Cupcake stamp set. This is a really, really cute stamp set. It's 3-step stamping. So you make the cupcake. I used all the same color. I used Flirty Flamingo. And each time that you lay down another layer, you get a darker and darker impression. Now you can mix up your colors if you want a more variation in your cupcake. The same with the paper bottom of the cupcake. But because I had a class of quite a few people, I think there were 12 last week, I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. So we just did it with all of one. And I'm sorry, it wasn't Flirty Flamingo, it was Sweet Sugar Plum that I used. I think Flirty Flamingo would look cute too. But so this stamp set is, like I said, a 3-step stamp set. And when you get it, let me put it down here so you can see the bottom part of the cupcake. See how it's marked 1, 2, and 3, which tells you lay this one down first, this one down second, and this one down third. I, however, do it the reverse. I do 3, 2, and 1. And that's the way I get my darkest color to be last. Because if I'm laying Sweet Sugar Plum over Sweet Sugar Plum over Sweet Sugar Plum, the last one obviously is going to be the darkest. And that's why I go reversed. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it does when you do it. So let's get started. And since these stamps are photopolymer, I'm going to bring in my Pierce mat. So the first thing I'm going to do is use my crumb cake ink, and I'm going to make the bottom of my cupcake. So here's my piece of Whisper White, and I'm going to take the one that says number 3, which is this one here. I'll straighten it out, and I'm going to stamp right about here. Then I'm going to take the one that says number 2. I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to stand up to do this so that I'm right over. I'm thinking I'm right over. My camera's in my way. I'm going to stamp that. Then I'm going to take the one that says number 1, which I'm using as number 3, and I'm going to stamp that over this. There we go. And that's how I have my layered look for my cupcake liner. Now I'm going to rinse all of these off. I'm going to use my Stampin' Scrub to wash all of these off because I need the blocks again for the top of my cupcake, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back with my clean blocks. So now I'm going to take my Sweet Sugar Plum, and I'm going to make the top of my cupcake. I'm going to stamp this large one up that says 3, but I'm using it 1. And I'm going to line it up right over my cupcake. And there's 1. And now I'm going to lay down the one that says 2. And wherever this one hits the initial layer, it's going to be a bit darker. So there's 2. And now I'm going to come in with my last one. And this is going to make yet a darker impression. And there we go. Now I'm going to make my candle. And the way I make my candle, I have the candle stamp here. I'm going to use Daffodil Delight. I'm going to take a Post-it note. And I know I have one here. And I'm going to cover the bottom half of my candle because I don't want to stamp the whole candle because it's going to be it would be too large. So I'm going to cover up the bottom. I'm going to mask that part off. I'm going to stamp that in my Daffodil Delight, and then I'm going to remove that. I'm going to line it up so the top of my candle hits the top of my cupcake, and I'm going to press. And there's that. Now on my initial one, I added a little flame. But I'm not going to add a flame. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to add this gold star instead. But I'm going to do that last. So now what I have to do is go around and make the speckles. And for that, I'm going to use this stamp here that has all like jimmies on it. Now for that one, I have to do each color separately. So I'm going to have my stamp scrubber right next to me so that after I'm done with each color, I can rinse it off, rinse my stamp off, and move on to the next one. I'm going to put this on a small block. And the first color I'm going to use is Old Olive. And I'm just going to randomly stamp here and there. I'll rinse it off. And then I'm going to come back in with Bermuda Bay. Now when you're doing multiple stampings and you keep going from your stamp pad to your project, it's a good idea to keep an eye on your block to make sure that you're not it's not getting full of ink, because then you will transfer that to your project and that would just ruin everything. And maybe some over there. Then the last color that I'm going to use is the pumpkin pie. Put that back there. And after I'm done adding my pumpkin pie, if I feel like I don't have enough of one color, I'll certainly just clean my stamp off and go back and get more of the color I feel like I'm missing. Do a little dab right there. And I think that's perfect for now. Now the next part of the technique is to cut out our wish. So we need W-I. Find my W. W. I. Should have had these laid out, right? Oh, there it is. S-H. So, W, I, S, and there is a top and a bottom to that S as far as I can tell. I think it looks a little different. W, I, S, H. I'm going to go run this through the Big Shot. I'll be right back. Okay, now I have my letters die cut out, and I'm going to start to put my card together. First thing I'm going to do is attach my Bermuda Bay to my Daffodil Delight. Oops. Now I'm going to attach my card front, which is die cut out, and I do want to get some adhesive as close to the letters as possible because I don't want anything sticking up. So after I get some fast fuse down, wherever there's a little spot that I think is going to need some adhesive that I can't get to with my snail, I'm going to just come in with a glue pen, like right here where the W is and the H is. I don't want that lifting right here. Okay, so now it's good and secure, and I'm going to layer that on my card base. Okay, now with my mini dimensionals, I'm going to pop up my letters. Don't need a whole lot of them because the letters, although they're a good size, they'll stand up nicely with just a few dimensionals. So I'm going to do the first one, and then I'm going to finish the other ones off camera because I'm sure it'll be boring for you to just watch me putting pop dots on. Oh. I'm just going to take this and line that up where it should go. And I'm going to press. And there we have that little shadow behind there. Isn't that nice? Okay, I'm going to finish the rest of the letters off camera and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my card all put together. Now the last thing I'm going to do is make my sentiment up in the corner. On the original card, how I did it was just by cutting, punching a little make A and then mounting it on the Daffodil Delight. But this time I'm going to do a little different. I'm going to use my banner punch, and I have a little strip of white paper. It's 1 inch wide. The length doesn't matter because I'm going to trim it anyway. So I'm going to put that in my punch and punch, and there's my banner. Then I have a piece that's cut at 1 1/4, and because 1 1/4 is not one of the standard sizes here. This punch is 1, 1.5, and 2. I'm going to put it in this way first. Okay, that looks even there. And when I turn it over, it's centered. I'm going to punch. All right, there we go. So now when I go mount these, I'll have a nice border. So I'm going to take the stamp that says Make A, and I'm going to ink up that stamp in Bermuda Bay. I'm going to just stamp my banner. And now the rest is just assembly. And I had my snail here. Where did I put it? Okay, here it is. I'm going to put some snail on the back of my banner. And line that up right there. And I'm going to put that right about here. So I'm going to put some snail on my card. And now with my scissors, I'm just going to come in from behind and trim that off. Now the last thing I'm going to do is take this little gold star that I punched out. I'm going to put the dimensional on the back. And that gold star was made using glimmer paper. And I had, you know, when I use my glimmer paper, I don't throw any of it away. And I was just finishing a project and I ended up with lots of little pieces. So rather than put them aside, I decided to punch out a bunch of stars because stars are something I'll always use. So I'm going to put that right there. And there's our card. Isn't that sweet? I'm looking forward to someone's birthday so that I can send them this. So there's our original with the candle and the little sentiment in a box. And there's our new one with the glimmer paper star and a banner to hold the sentiment. If you have any questions at all about this project, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. If you have any questions about any of the products that I've used, or if I can help you get any of the products, I would love to be able to help you. And if you have any questions about the technique, I'm certainly happy to answer those questions. So I'll catch you back here next week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.